Colin, I guess we can start by looking ahead to a home game here at Aggborough on Saturday. It represents, I guess, something of a last chance saloon, really.
Yeah, I think it's the most important game of the season. Hopefully we have a very big crowd and we put aside all the frustrations that we've had for the season and we get behind the team and try and get us on a roll that gets us into the playoffs and see where that leads us.
And people will mention the fact that they feel we should perhaps be in a better position than we are, and that's not out of arrogance, but more just because the division has been so open without a runaway leader this season. Would you say that that's a regret?
This was the season really for us to really make a stand. We didn't have a Fylde and we didn't have a Salford, and budget-wise I think we're more than competitive with the rest of the league, and it's a major disappointment that we're not even assured of a playoff place.
I know you've said that mistakes have been made. I guess, is that the lesson to take from the season, as painful as it is, to sort of learn from them and not to repeat them?
I don't know how many times I've said that you're allowed to make mistakes, and what you're not allowed to do is not learn from them, and I think that we made mistakes last season in as much as we weren't ready to go with regards to the squad, and we tried to put that right throughout the season, and it caught us short in the end. And this year our mistakes have been made more directly with regards to the first team, and and I think that we need to learn from those, and certainly I do as well.
And like you've mentioned there, whether it's managerial, whether it relates to players or whether it relates to staff, you can't underplay the importance of the summer months where it appears not a lot goes on, but yeah. on that you found your season, don't you, really?
You do. Your squad needs to be put together, and that you're confident can see you through a campaign, that you're confident you can hit the ground running, and we need to be sure of the squad that we put together for next season, and we need to be sure of the staff that we put together for next season, that we know with experience now that is as good as we can get for the following season. That's the only way we can approach it.
And we have a manager in post at the moment. Obviously, the agreement, in Mark's own words, was that it was going to be initially till the end of the season, yeah. And we talk about things there. Whatever direction, managerial and player-wise, things go in the summer, how do you go about tackling that workload? Because you have a short space of time in which to do it, but as you've said, you have to get it right.
First of all, you need to identify what you want to be and where you want to be, and I think the experience now for 3 years of this league, or 3 seasons in this league, I think that no one can argue that at our best we are the best team, but we don't hit the best often enough, and we don't have a fallback position, and we're not adaptable enough, and I'd rather call it adaptable rather than a plan B, because I think that plan B nonsense leads players to try and play a game that's completely alien to us. So we need to be aware of our deficiencies, and our deficiencies over 3 seasons is without the ball we are not as good as we should be, and some teams describe us as having a soft underbelly, and we have to get rid of that.
How do you do that?
I think that's basically down to work on the training ground, that everybody knows their roles and responsibilities, and they adhere to them first and foremost, and then anything on top of that is a bonus. And it's that detail as a marginal gains that really top coaches work towards, and those are the elements that people think Manchester City are just a wonderful football team, but they work harder than anybody to get the ball back, but they do it with a structure and as an organisation to when they go after the ball. And many times this season our ideas of going after the ball resembled the Keystone Cops, and there wasn't a structure, there wasn't an organisation, there wasn't a basic understanding of how to go about a simple task of getting the ball back quickly and not risking conceding a goal. We played 3 centre-halves most of the season. We've conceded more goals than we've ever conceded. That shouldn't happen.
And I know I'm preaching to the converted in saying this, but without speaking ill of any person or group of people, when you put it like that, it's unforgivable for a professional football team to not have that, isn't it?
It's absolutely unforgivable. We are full-time. We play against teams that most of the lads have to go off to work on a Monday morning, or even a Wednesday morning after a Tuesday night's game. Some of them are working on the day of the game, and we give our lads and staff the luxury that they can prepare from minute one in any week, and be better prepared than most. Every player is fitted with GPS. not literally. So we have those kind of stats. We have full-time analysts. We have training videoed and watched. We have every opportunity to be as good as we can be, and unfortunately we're coming up short. We're coming up short, I think, because people aren't actually working as smartly and as hard as they should do, and this is the thing that concerns me the most. We need to find people who are hungry, who want to manage Manchester United, and this gives them the first step on that ladder, or whoever they might want to manage, but even England, and therefore they live and breathe the game, and they're here every minute. And certainly the first manager we had was here every minute and locked the doors at night and opened the gates in the morning, and he would give himself every opportunity to be as good as he can be, and he's still learning and developing, but he's gone on to bigger and better things, and he's a championship manager now, as we all know. So we want people to come here who want to be able to do the same things, who want to do want the opportunities we give them to go on and fulfil their career ambitions.
And you've mentioned the likes of a Guardiola and a Klopp, and that kind of mindset and model. If that sounds a bit lofty, what would be, for the want of understanding it better, perhaps a lower league, for the phrase example?
I'm a big admirer of a lot of managers, but Chris Wilder at Sheffield United is a classic case of working with not superstars, but getting the most out of them, and coming up with a system that's innovative and bright. But they're very, very difficult to break down without the ball, but they absolutely know how to use it when they've got it. Obviously Marco Bielsa at Leeds, but I don't really get to understand him too much because he doesn't speak too much in the way of English. I understand that he likes to hide in bushes and watch training sessions, which is great. That is marginal gains to the extreme. But this is what I want. I want people who are that bright, innovative, cagey, call it what you will, anything that's going to get an edge within the rules, but gives us the best opportunity to turn very, very good footballers into very, very good players. And
is it your belief that coach, manager, whatever that is, that person exists within the non-league setup?
Absolutely.
Or can?
There's going to be more and more as the nature of football changes at this level. More teams now are playing football against us than ever before. I think there's a swing now from non-league boot it and run after it football to more intelligence. I think I can equate that to the fact now that no matter who you are, on Sunday evening you can get a copy of your next week opponent's previous game, 90 minutes, and analyse and study, which has never happened before. We used to have to work really hard to get that information ourselves. It's open to everybody, and the brighter coaches are setting teams up based on the teams that they're playing against on the Saturday, and I think you can see that more often than not, and people are looking for weaknesses, certainly against us, and looking to exploit that soft underbelly that we have. We've got to get rid of it. We've got to be better without the ball, and we've got to be braver with the ball. So anybody who wants to come here and take advantage of the time and opportunity that this football club will give them, then we'll be very interested to talk to them, because that's exactly what we want. And if that's Mark, and Mark's prepared to work as hard and wants to be the manager here because he really wants to be here, then that's what we want. But we want people who are going to look for those marginal gains, that are going to set the team up, that every player on that pitch knows that out of possession of the ball we know exactly what our jobs and roles are, and we carry them out to the nth degree.
There are obviously many positive facets to being a Kidderminster Harriers fan, a lot of really good things that the club does, especially within the local community. But for a Harriers fan, for instance, buying a season ticket and coming and watching games this season especially, it's been tough. Is that something you can appreciate?
It's been tougher for me, because I want to be proud of the club. I want to be proud of what I'm seeing on a Saturday afternoon, and I want us to be regarded as the best, and the best example for any non-league club to follow. And I haven't really felt that this season. Away from the first team, absolutely. The job that Scotty Mace has done with the 23s and the work that he does is remarkable. The work that Adam Crowell's doing with the re-education group, that Mark Muddyman's doing in the academy, that James Long is doing with regards to the community, and Nick Griffiths in the community. These people are working remarkably well and at really high standards, and so I'm really proud of that. But people might say, yeah, but that doesn't win us games on a Saturday. But ultimately it will. But we need to set the standards for those people to follow, and unfortunately at the moment those people are setting the standards that aren't being followed, and that's the thing that upsets me the most.
Do you also get the feeling that there is a greater importance here on winning first team matches and being a successful first team than perhaps is given credit for?
Yeah, I think that people probably, when they're upset and they sit there and they're punching away on their keyboards on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning after a bad result, they lash out, and so basically they say things that perhaps in the cold light of day they wouldn't actually say, and they question the desire of people at the top of this club to want to be successful. Well, you can check my bank balance to find out whether I want to be successful or not, because we've given the managers here fantastic budgets and other great support. We do other things beyond the pale with regards to overnight stays, pre-match meals, you name it. The lads get treated like they play for Real Madrid.
We're talking about first team level.
You know, and that's you know, people don't see that side of it. It's the first team that puts this club in jeopardy. Everybody else makes profit. It's the first team that puts this football club in jeopardy. And because we are desperate to succeed and we are over-supporting the first team. Now, whether that can continue or not, I'm not sure, but I'm wanting it will continue, and we will invest in the first team because the work that's been done lower down is going to create the revenues for us to invest in the first team going forward. But at the moment, we may have to have a reality check. We'll see, we'll have a look at that in the summer. But the people think that we're not interested in the first team succeeding. They want their heads looking at, because it drives us all.
And in terms of looking at that in the summer, it's going to take, I mean, let's put it in perspective. We've not been in a relegation battle, of course, so it does need that perspective. Yeah. But it's going to need a leap of faith, really, I guess, for some to renew season tickets or buy season tickets. What would you say to those supporters who want to carry on supporting the club but have just had a difficult year of it?
I would ask them to trust. I would ask them to believe that we are as desperate as they are for success. But there are worse examples than us at the moment in teams that have had a better football league tradition than us. Some of them are, really struggling. Some of them are further down the league than us. York City being a prime example, and Darlington and others. And their fans are as equally as frustrated. What I would say to those people, that we have the infrastructure now to help us succeed. We are putting in place the building blocks that can sustain a challenge on titles and a challenge on success, but also that can keep the football club afloat. And the majority of the football clubs we discuss have all had serious financial problems to the point that they've gone out of business. We're not that football club. We want to build something that we can all go forward together and be successful.
I've deliberately centred much of this around football and the first team because that is the passion of so many people, understandably. But you've mentioned there the security of the football club and the importance of its longevity. I know obviously you've been working on that for a very long time, and I guess just to assure supporters that however hard it is, it's with the aim of making sure there's a Kidderminster Harriers here in 20-30 years.
We've got some great supporters and investors now, and we're finalising some very exciting things, and it was always my intention that this football club would be given the capacity to expand, and that expansion would only come from investment and people who also believe as passionately about Kidderminster Harriers and Kidderminster as a town as I do. In fact, as Kidderminster as a town, more so with the new investors, because they're actually local boys, which is brilliant. But we want to succeed and we want to make everybody proud, and that's our aim.
Is that something that will, over the years now, gradually work on behind the scenes? Is that something that will be discussed publicly for you, or is it a case of seeing how it goes?
That will depend on the investors wanting to be public or not. I think at the end of the day, I don't know whether people would gladly step into my shoes and take the crap that I have to take. So I think sometimes people would rather you stand up the front there, you talk, and we'll be peddling underneath.